On this episode of MythBusters, Adam and Jamie shed some light and heat on the Hindenburg disaster. Was the inferno caused by chemicals painted onto its skin?
That was totally amazing.
And from zeppelins to zigzags,
No, the crocodile!
is a crooked run the best way to confound a ravenous reptile? Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage.
Is everybody ready for diving?
And Jamie Heineman.
Gets me all worked up just looking at it.
That was beautiful!
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
That was heavy.
Joining them, Grant Imahara,
You feeling lucky, punk?
Tori Belleci,
Somebody order some exploding pants?
and Carrie Byron. They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
So what's the myth?
The myth today has to do with the cause of the Hindenburg disaster.
May 6th, 1937, one of the darkest days in aviation history. The giant German Zeppelin Hindenburg, with 97 people on board, hovers over New York City. That evening, as it comes into land at Lakehurst Naval Air Station, the airship suddenly bursts into flames.
All the humanity and all the plans defeated around us.
36 people die in the inferno. History's largest airship is reduced to ashes in just 34 seconds. And an unforgettable image is burned into the memory.
Doesn't everybody know that that was caused by the hydrogen, which is the reason they don't fill blimps with hydrogen anymore?
Not according to our myth. Our myth states that the cause of the Hindenburg disaster was its skin, specifically the dope and paint on its skin.
This myth is not just wild internet speculation. The incendiary paint theory was actually put forward by a retired NASA scientist, Dr. Addison Bain. After studying fragments of the Hindenburg's hull, Bain cleared hydrogen as the cause of the blaze, blaming instead the airship's metal-based paint. It's a myth Adam and Jamie were born to bust. They're going to turn up the heat
Deuteronomy!
and put the paint theory to the ultimate test. In a world first, they'll build scale model Hindenburgs, cover them with a paint identical to that used on the giant blimp, and find an answer to aviation's burning question once and for all.
This is my favorite scale experiment we've ever done. Full stop.
Okay, well, where do we start?
Well, since the myth is about the skin, I think that's where we should start. We should find out exactly the type of fabric that was used and exactly what that fabric was coated with and replicate the skin in the shop and see how it burns.
Okay.
The Hindenburg skin was 100% cotton, treated with a kind of paint, or dope as it's known in the trade, which made the fabric taut and waterproof. The dope's ingredients included aluminum powder and iron oxide. Put them together, and they produce an extraordinarily explosive substance called thermite. Adam's keen to demonstrate. He's gonna whip up a batch of thermite. For this cooking lesson, Adam will need the fire suit and its safety masks all round. So, just like gumbo night at Adam's then. Take a cast iron skillet, add the aluminum powder and iron oxide, combine well. Thing is, they won't ignite by themselves. To get a thermite reaction, you need to add 1 or 2 secret ingredients.
This ingredient is made of blur. Ha! And this has some blur in it too. Blur is very dangerous. You don't want to mix blur with blur.
Add the mysterious mixture to the pan and retire immediately. It takes a few seconds for the ingredients to react, then suddenly you're cooking on a very high heat. 4,500 degrees, in fact.
Wow!
So we've seen thermite in action, and we know that the Hindenburg skin was coated with the compounds that create thermite. So that's a check mark for the myth.
The question now is, will they do that in a dope solution? So I think it's time to test fabric samples.
Now, the Hindenburg didn't have the same dope solution all over. The lower half had 3 coats of dope containing aluminum powder. The upper half had the Thermite mix, a base coat of butyrate and iron oxide, then 3 coats of butyrate and aluminum.
Here's what I'm wondering. If aluminum powder and iron oxide are so dangerous, why use those 2 components to coat the Hindenburg skin?
Well, they figured that was the best combination to reflect both heat and light from the delicate inner bladders that held the hydrogen.
Good enough for me.
Jamie prepares panels using cotton and aluminum frames that match the material used on the Hindenburg. On one panel, the fabric's left raw. The second is painted to match the bottom of the Hindenburg, and the third has the same dope mix as the top half.
This is basically just to find out if the dope has any influence on the speed of burn. So we'll start out with a raw piece of fabric, see how fast that burns, and then compare that to the other concentrations we have.
Adam sets fire to the untreated cotton. It doesn't so much burn as smolder.
We don't need high speed on this, we need a time lapse.
Anything you say, Adam.
5 minutes and 25 seconds.
That's not very fast.
That took almost 10 times longer than the Hindenburg took to burn. The entire Hindenburg.
Okay, we've got our control. Time for the first dope test.
Bottom of the Hindenburg, plain dope with 3 coats of aluminum. Yeah? You ready?
I'm ready.
Go. It's not a cajon. The Hindenburg was 800 feet long and the whole thing burned in less than a minute.
Remember, there's no chance of a thermite reaction here because there's no iron oxide in the dope.
What was the time on that one?
2 minutes, 26 seconds.
The bottom sample burned twice as fast as the raw fabric, which makes it pretty clear that there is a factor in the coating that has to do with how fast this thing burns.
Next, the dope that was on the Hindenburg's upper half. This is the potential thermite mix. Will there be a reaction?
All right, you guys, get ready for this one. Crocodile myth.
Is it that they live in the sewers?
No.
Is it that crocodiles have tears?
No. This one is, if you're getting chased by a crocodile, you can easily escape it by running in a zigzag pattern, because they cannot turn corners.
In the water, the crocodile is a lightning-quick ambush predator. In that explosive split second when they strike, crocodile lunges have been clocked at around 30 miles an hour. Lunging is one thing, running is another. According to the myth, if you're being chased by a crocodile, all you have to do is run in a zigzag, because their long bodies and short legs cannot make sharp turns.
All right, you guys, this one seems a little dangerous. How do you think we should test it?
Let's use Buster first. We'll build a rig that pulls him in a straight line, and then one that pulls him in a zigzag.
Well, let's try to make this a little interesting instead of just sticking a stake to Buster's butt. Maybe we can make a pair of meat legs.
How do you make meat legs?
Don't ask me.
Guess that'll be your job. We'll build the rig.
The plan is to dangle a dummy from a remote-controlled trolley, which moves from side to side. The trolley, in turn, will be suspended from a steel track. As the trolley is pulled along the track, those juicy meat legs will zigzag. Then they'll take the rig to a croc farm and see if they can make some reptiles run. But this time, believe it or not, Buster's off the hook.
The rig that we're gonna have to put up is going to be suspended. Therefore, my Buster needs to be really, really lightweight. I'm gonna make him entirely out of foam for a torso, and then I might have a little surprise for his legs.
Soon, a new foam Buster is rising like a cake in an oven.
As you can see, he's very light, and it's not gonna put a whole lot of strain on the rig.
This new lightweight Buster hasn't got a leg to stand on, but Carrie has a pair of meat legs all mapped out.
What are these?
They're fishnet stockings.
He'll be wearing fishnet stockings.
Give me all your cash!
And they'll be stuffed with quail. But these are not like any frozen bird you might find in your supermarket.
See,
Oh my God!
I can't can't do this.
They got feathers on them still.
I can't do this.
You know what? They're not even gutted.
It's a quail sickle.
Put it down. Put it down. No, seriously.
I never
You are
juggled dead quails
You are
before.
so messed up. Put these down, go back to working whatever you're working on because I have a really busy day of putting dead birds in sexy lingerie.
Now, there's a sentence you don't hear every day. And here's another. Carrie has to choose the lingerie least likely to come apart while being chewed.
You've got nylon, you got spandex, you got cotton, and I need to test and see which one of these are going to be the best for the crocodiles to be able to hold on to.
With the different stocking stuffed, Carrie takes a scalpel and makes like a crocodile tooth.
I think I'm going with the 100% cotton fishnet stockings.
Adam and Jamie are trying to get a handle on the Hindenburg blaze. Wow! Was the airship's metallic paint to blame? The paint on this panel matches the one on the doomed airship. It contains aluminum and iron oxide, two compounds that combine to create explosive thermite. Will they get a reaction? Adam puts flame to the frame.
Go.
No thermite reaction, no intense heat. In fact, it takes 5.5 minutes for the panel to be consumed. That's almost twice as long as the aluminum-coated cotton.
It's almost identical to the cloth by itself.
Wow.
Hang on, guys, don't write off this myth yet. That was one little panel. The Hindenburg was covered in thousands of square feet of material. Could there be a better boom on a bigger scale?
I mean, maybe there's some crazy amount that could yield an energetic reaction, but it's not this amount.
Obviously, the Hindenburg's designers didn't set out to coat their creation in rocket fuel. Those who pan the paint theory say the aluminum and iron oxide couldn't have formed thermite because the compounds weren't mixed that way. The recipe was completely different. So that's got the MythBusters curious. What would happen if you did paint pure thermite on the skin?
It's more like a paste than a paint, but I think we can smear it on.
Next up. Whoa. Mega dope. This is just total worst case scenario. Can you actually make thermite in a dope formulation?
Be careful when you light it.
Adam ignites the panel.
Time it.
Not exactly the pyrotechnic display we might have expected. They start discussing Plan B when suddenly...
Deuteronomy. Okay, wait.
Well, that's thermite.
You got that right.
Wow!
Once the mega dope ignited, the panel was consumed in just 20 seconds.
That was dramatically different.
That was totally amazing. Well, I tell you, that's the first evidence I've seen yet that there might actually be something to this myth. Because that's the kind of burn I think of when I think about the Hindenburg going up.
This was not what was on the Hindenburg. We have to make that clear because this was just like over the top crazy. The concentration of thermite in there was, thermite to dope was maybe like 75% thermite. And they wouldn't have, in any stretch of the imagination, coated the Hindenburg with something like that.
So, we burned the skin samples, but you know, the Hindenburg was filled with 200,000 cubic meters of hydrogen.
Well, let's burn some skin in the presence of hydrogen and see what it does.
The newsreel shows the Hindenburg engulfed by fire. Yet high school science tells us hydrogen burns with a near invisible flame. So what are we seeing in the disaster footage? Is it the skin burning and not the gas? Adam will burn some hydrogen to see what the flame looks like. He takes a cylinder of 100% pure hydrogen and makes an enormous Bunsen burner.
That's an orange burn, baby. The hydrogen definitely burns orange, but it is extremely low visibility, in contrast to the newsreel footage in which the flame is clearly visible. Now, eyewitnesses said it burned orange, but it's a lot more visible than this was.
One thing's for sure, hydrogen burns like nobody's business. So it does sort of beg the question,
You know, I don't understand why, if it's so flammable, they filled the Hindenburg with hydrogen in the first place.
Well, the Hindenburg was originally intended to be filled with helium, but a United States military embargo against the Germans and selling them helium caused the Germans to re-engineer the Hindenburg to use hydrogen instead. And in any case, it gave more lift.
Okay, so what do we do now? The Hindenburg was filled with 200,000 cubic feet of hydrogen, which burns like this.
That's an orange burn, baby.
And its skin was covered in chemicals which, in the correct concentrations, burn like this.
Deuteronomy. Wow.
So what happens when gas and skin burn together? To find out, Adam builds a box and stretches some fabric over the top.
The dope-covered fabric that I've got covering this box for this test represents the top half of the Hindenburg. It is a layer of butyrate dope and iron oxide covered with 3 layers of butyrate dope and aluminum powder. Ladies and germs, here we go.
Hydrogen is pumped into the box, and Adam introduces a naked flame.
Whoa! Okay. Is everybody okay?
Fresh underwear for Mr. Savage, please. Because the volume of gas inside the box was only small, the reaction was quick and violent. To have skin and gas actually burn rather than go bang, the hydrogen will have to be diffused over a larger area.
We want a slow burn. We want to see the fabric burning with the hydrogen. We don't just want an explosion here.
Time for Adam and Jamie to start thinking outside the box and take their Hindenburg hijinks large scale. According to the myth, outrunning a crocodile is not straightforward. It's a zigzag. Carrie's foam and fishnet buster bait is ready. Meanwhile, Tori's got the croc rig on track.
So I have my 2-inch steel tube. This is going to be our track that's going to go over the crocodiles. And so now what I'm going to do is build the trolley, and the trolley will carry the dummy along that run, and the crocodile will have something to chase.
Getting the dummy to move in a straight line will be relatively simple. But making it zigzag, not so easy. Grant's working on the remote-controlled trolley.
The foam guy is actually going to be mounted on this, and this will be hanging actually upside down, so he'll move across like that. Motor here, the sprocket. As the sprocket turns, it moves the chain back and forth.
Next, the zigzag rig has to be calibrated for human speed.
So what we're going to do is lay out a grid on the floor of our shop, take a shot from overhead, and just run a bunch of zigzags and see what the best time is.
The grid is made up of 12-inch squares. It's 12 feet long and 9 feet wide.
No, the crocodile!
Question is, what constitutes a zigzag?
Well, I'm pretty sure that the essence of this myth comes from the fact that they have those long, rigid bodies. So it's not sort of like a weird hopping thing like they're snapping and you're just jumping, but it's more of a...
So you're going to try and hit the corners as fast as you can rather than like hopscotch jumping.
Yeah.
What the heck was that? What was that? Was a mouse chasing you?
It's really hard to do the turns.
One by one, the guys run a series of zigzags across the grid.
What I was trying to do is actually maximize the side-to-side. You know?
But it may have saved your life due to the fact that that crocodile right now is in a belly laugh. He can't even move. He's like cramping.
Then Grant studies the high-speed footage. By counting how many frames it takes to move across one square on the grid, he can time each run and come up with an average speed. And it is very average.
The average speed in the X direction, which is the long direction that you're going to be handling, is 7.6 feet per second.
That works out to be only 5 miles per hour. Some Crocs have been clocked running at more than twice that speed. So will our cross-dressing dummy be fast enough to escape? Time to see what this Croc rig can do.
That was some crazy quail swing in action.
He zigs, he zags. Unfortunately, he also sees and saws. Tori has a plan to straighten Buster up.
I just want to get rid of the seesaw effect that this dummy is having. So what I'm going to do is I'm welding up some bars on either sides. I'm going to put some cables on the ends of those and put the cables through pulleys that are attached to the trolley, and hopefully that will get rid of that seesaw effect.
With the guide wires in place, they try again.
New improved Buster test, take 1. Let's go.
That's great.
I'm happy with it.
So's Carrie.
So weird Buster rig is actually working really, really good.
Hey, nice meat legs, by the way.
Well, where are we gonna get some Crocs? Because clearly there aren't any around here.
The only place we're going to be able to get crocodiles to chase us is going to be in Florida. So pack your bags.
Field trip.
It's time to croc and roll.
Florida, here we come.
Here we go.
Why did the Hindenburg burn? Former NASA scientist Dr. Addison Bain sparked controversy by claiming that it was the metal paint on the Hindenburg's hull that caught fire, not hydrogen. Wow! Adam and Jamie are on the case, but so far their Hindenburg investigations have been hindered by scale.
Well, the small scale just isn't doing it for answering all these questions that we've got. We have to go bigger scale, but we can't possibly go full scale. How big do you think we can go?
I don't know, like 10, 12 feet?
Well, if we go 16 feet, that's 1/50th scale. That's a nice round number. You think we can do that?
This should solve the mystery once and for all. They'll build 2 16-foot Hindenburg scale models and coat them with the aluminum iron oxide paint. One will be full of air, the other hydrogen. And if the hydrogen Hindenburg burns faster, then this blimp myth is busted. Okay, everyone happy? Not quite.
I think we need to do a third one as well. I mean, one that guarantees a thermite reaction.
All right, so 3 blimps it is. I think we can do it.
That third blimp burn will show what would happen if someone was crazy enough to paint their airship with pure thermite. To help with the build, Adam unearthed some blueprints of the real Hindenburg. To match the original airship, the replicas will need aluminum frames, so Jamie's off to get wired.
We've come to a wire stock place, and they have just about every kind of gauge of steel wire that we need. I'm going to buy some.
The wire will have to be thin to keep the models lightweight, yet strong enough to prevent buckling. The last thing they want is a limp blimp.
I've picked a wire gauge that is, I think, just thick enough for us to weld, and otherwise the frame, when we're done with it, may only weigh maybe 10 or 15 pounds.
Back at Hindenburg headquarters, Adam and myth-turned Jess Nelson are hard at work.
Behind me here, this fishbone is the guide backbone for all the concentric rings that make up the body of the Hindenburg, and then we will, once we have that laid out with all the rings on it, we will go in and weld all the long struts, and then we'll do it again. And when we're done with that, we'll do it again.
Sure, it's a big task, Adam, but spare a thought for the guys who built the original. Work on the Hindenburg started in 1931 and took 5 years to complete. The result was a mind-boggling feat of engineering. The Hindenburg was longer than 3 737s, 15 stories high, and could store 7 million cubic feet of lifting gas. The Hindenburg's designers also included a smoking room, fireproofed, of course. By following the original Hindenburg blueprints, the MythBusters soon have their own mini Hindenburg taking shape.
Look at that. That is very, very cool.
It weighs maybe about 10 pounds, if that. I'm gonna get pissed if you drop that thing.
Adam balances the frame on his chin. Don't ask me why, he's just Adam. It goes over like a Led Zeppelin with Jamie. Ain't a whole lot of love in the room. Okay, enough with the horseplay. We need another 2 Hindenburgs pronto.
You want 3 Zeppelins in a day? We'll give you 3 Zeppelins in a day.
The frames need cotton skins. Adam soon has that all sewn up. Everything's going smoothly until Jamie opts for a spot of last-minute welding.
Oh.
And suddenly, the model is looking disturbingly like the real Hindenburg.
These things are always catching on fire. That is the textbook definition of irony, kids.
The last thing they have to do is apply the dope, and the models are complete. Now, the MythBusters are ready to crack this case once and for all.
Next up on Discovery, the world's deadliest piñata.
Can you escape a crocodile by running in a zigzag? To find out, Carrie, Tori, and Grant have harnessed all their know-how and built a zigzag rig. Now they're off on a reptile recce.
We are now here in Florida at St. Augustine Alligator Farm, and they're crazy enough to let us try our Buster rig on some of these alligators and crocodiles. What does it mean when they hiss?
When they hiss, they feel a little threatened because you're getting a little bit too close to them, so they're kind of unhappy with your presence right now.
They're unhappy.
Whoa!
Sorry.
You make the prettiest noises.
St. Augustine is the only farm in the world to have all 23 species of crocodilian. Director John Brugan has heard the zigzag myth many times.
The crocodile's going in a straight line, you're kind of going in a zigzag. I think you're going to meet a couple times in there. It doesn't sound so good to me, but it's worth trying.
They choose a good straight run and assemble the rig. Soon, Buster 2's got his fetching, quail-filled fishnets on. Now, it's croc time.
These are very dangerous animals, so it's important that you're listening to the keepers. Listen to David and Kevin. They'll tell you where to be if something goes wrong. They're gonna be yelling at you. They don't mean any disrespect, but they're gonna tell you to get somewhere quickly.
Hope you were listening, Tori. You're gonna help wrangle the first reptile.
I've been watching a lot of professional wrestling on television, so I've learned some wrestling moves, and I'm gonna try them out on this crocodile.
The Cuban crocodile is one of the quickest and most aggressive crocodiles on the planet. A perfect candidate for the zigzag test. If they can catch one, that is.
We'll get the animal secured, hold the mouth shut, and then you'll actually tape the jaw shut so it's no longer able to bite us.
What?
You're going to tape the mouth shut.
That's what he thought you said.
Give Kevin that mouth bowl.
Wow!
Okay.
He's gonna submit in 2 seconds. Tap out! Tap out, sucker!
So is that better than playing with robots?
Oh my gosh, this is my new favorite job. How do I sign up?
I think you just did.
Okay, here we go. Can the Cuban croc catch those zigzagging quail legs? Tori's poised to pull the dummy along the track. Using the remote control, Grant twitches Buster's delicious legs. Our reptile doesn't seem tempted, although its potential speed is obvious when it suddenly rounds on its keepers.
Whoa.
They keep trying to tease the croc into a chase, but the beast just won't budge.
Senor.
So they wheel out a second Cuban.
Okay, so this is the new one, the fresh crocodile.
Here we go. Jiggling. Tasty. Come on. Take a bite.
But no cigar. The reptiles just won't run.
A big part of the problem may very well be that it knows it's not a person.
How can it tell?
Yeah.
Conditions are perfect. Crocs are the most active at this time of the year. And the humid, steamy weather means they shouldn't be sluggish.
No interest whatsoever.
I'm starting to feel extremely defeated. There's a run in my stockings and there's no crocodile running.
You know what they say about children and animals in the film industry.
You said it, Tori. Animal myths are notoriously difficult to bust. Remember skunk cleaning? Adam and Jamie set out to test a bunch of skunk smell home remedies. Only problem was, they couldn't get a skunk to kick up a stink.
Well, it doesn't work. Can we go now?
Back in Crocodile Alley, the test subjects are refusing to chase Buster's meat legs in a zigzag or any other configuration. Luckily, the MythBusters have a plan B.
We're actually going to take a quail and put it on my robot here, and this is a battle-ready combat robot. So if, unfortunately, an animal gets a hold of it in its jaws, it is built for combat, so it probably will stand up.
With its cargo of quail in place, Grant's robot sets out on its mission. Looking like the Mars rover, it parks near the edge of a pool, well within striking distance. Grant's poised to hit the accelerator at the first crocodilian quiver. But apparently, this croc doesn't feel like Meals on Wheels.
We're having a hard time getting this crocodile to come to the surface of the water, so I'm going to try to entice it with some quail, and I'm just going to drop it right in front of his nose, or her nose.
Tori ventures close and throws the bird. Nothing, not a ripple.
I don't think he's coming out the water.
Well, the trainers here say that they're naturally secretive animals, and what's more, they're not stupid.
Yeah, he seems pretty spooked by your robot.
No response to the rig, no response to the robot. You can't say the MythBusters aren't trying.
You know, those crocodiles seem like they're slow on land, but shooting out of the water, they're lightning.
Well, actually, I've done a little bit more research, and it turns out in almost every crocodile or alligator attack, since they've been keeping records, the victim has been in or near the water.
Well then, what are the rules to avoid being chomped?
First, if there are any warning signs, don't go in the water. Second, if you fall into the water, get out as quickly as possible. And third, never ever dangle your legs or arms over the side of the boat.
I think we can handle these rules.
There's only one thing left. Plan C. That's C for crazy. Tori's gonna put his behind on the line and get a croc to chase him instead. Tori, Carrie, and Grant have been wrestling with the myth that crocodiles can't run in a zigzag. So far, they haven't been able to coax a croc into running at all. You know what they say about desperate times and desperate measures.
We've tried everything to get these crocodiles to chase the food, but apparently nothing's working. So we're going to try a different approach. We're going to try to see if we can get them to chase us out of aggression. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually suit up with some protective gear, get in there, try to agitate the crocodiles, and see if they'll chase me.
Tori's going out on a limb. Let's just hope all his are still there when it's over.
So let's say one of them does get a hold of my leg. What will you do to break that hold?
I will do everything I can to ease your pain as quickly as possible.
He has a stick.
And this is actually more for
knock me
you.
out with the
Yes,
stick.
exactly. The quicker you lose consciousness, the better off it is for you. Yes.
Tori's legs will be well protected. Unfortunately, the heavy padding will also slow him down.
Wait, the safety protection caused me to fall down. Protective gear is hindering me from running away from the crocodile.
Nevertheless, he's ready for a face-to-face croc confrontation. The Johnston's crocodile is found in Australian waters. It's smaller than the Cuban croc, but fast and fiercely territorial.
So this is the first test, chasing Tori with the Johnston's crocodile.
What do you think's going to happen?
I think you can catch him.
Can Tori snatch victory from the jaws of defeat? Was that an unfortunate turn of phrase? Once again, provoking a croc attack proves to be a lot harder than you'd think. But if he succeeds, Tori will have to remember to run in a zigzag. Suddenly, The crocodile lunges, but doesn't continue the chase beyond that initial strike. The experiment ends with Tori intact.
When it came out of the water and it was just standing there looking at me, hissing and like lunging, my heart was going, 1,000 miles a minute. I was just like freaking out.
And he's starting to draw some conclusions about this myth.
I don't think you're gonna have to worry about it. I think you're more worried about getting away from that initial explosive attack. If you can get away from that, you're pretty much gonna be okay.
Actually, Tori, you're spot on. In the wild, crocodiles don't chase prey on land. They're ambush predators, attacking from the water. Escape that initial lunge, and you're pretty much home free. That's crocodiles. But what about alligators? Grant wants to try one more experiment, swapping the crocs for their cousins.
Okay, David, so up to this point, we've been using crocodiles. They haven't been going for the food. But we hear you have some trained alligators.
We have 3 good candidates in here today. We have Fluffy, Skipper, and Bob. And with any luck, one of those will come at you at full speed.
Fluffy, Skipper, Bob. Gee, with names like that, it must be hard not to smile at a crocodile.
You should lay the food about maybe a foot in front of his head.
Oh, okay, that close.
Yes.
Okay.
That close.
Using his most commanding voice, Grant calls the animal.
Skipper! Skipper!
I said commanding voice.
Skipper! Skipper!
Skipper follows the bait, but he's not setting any land speed records. So then Carrie plays Gator Baiter, trying to lure her living dinosaur in a zigzag.
Oh, yes, you're just freaking me out now, Smiley. Yay! This way! All right.
You're the most popular girl in the lagoon.
I don't know if she's more afraid of the alligator or the bird.
The alligator slowly changes direction to follow Carrie. But is that a zigzag as defined by the myth?
I did a zig, I did a zag. He could follow me, but only sort of in a curvy motion, not really sharp turns, and it didn't make me get away from him any better or any faster.
Let's face it, this myth is looking more and more, if you'll pardon the expression, like a croc.
Man, we threw everything at this one, including ourselves. I don't know what more we could have done.
Yeah, I'm really frustrated. We didn't even get to try our croc zigzag rig. We were in the right place at the right time of year on a hot day with cranky crocodiles and their food of choice, and they still wouldn't chase.
I mean, we even strapped quails to your robot, and we couldn't get those crocodiles to chase it.
Well, doesn't that in itself prove something? Forget the zigzag. Crocodiles are just not gonna chase you on land.
Yeah, they're ambush predators. If they miss you that first time, they're just gonna wait until some easier prey comes along.
And so this whole zigzag theory is just ridiculous. I mean, you're never gonna use it because they're never gonna chase you.
It's ridiculous, and what's more, it's busted.
Busted.
Totally busted.
For almost 70 years, it's been assumed that hydrogen was the cause of the Hindenburg disaster. But the incendiary paint theory, developed by a retired NASA scientist, lays the blame for the blaze on the metal paint that covered the airship's skin. Adam and Jamie have built some blimps
Ta-da!
and are set to give that theory a serious thermal workout. They're off to their home away from home, the abandoned naval base.
Last time we were here, we fired an air cylinder through a wall. Shearing the regulator off the tank. Attempt number 2.
Oh, God.
That wasn't bad, but now we're gonna blow up some Zeppelins.
As Tarantino might say, bring out the blimp. At 16 feet long, the Zeppelin is 1/50th scale. It's not been designed to get airborne, so it'll have to hang suspended.
I've got these figures from a train set. These are 1/50th scale. Check these guys out. That's how big an actual person would have been with the Hindenburg. This thing is massive. This fire must have been just the most unbelievable thing that anyone that day had ever seen.
The myth says that the destruction of the Hindenburg was because of the skin and not because of the hydrogen.
The blimp skin matches the Hindenburg's exactly, right down to the dope formula painted on its surface.
The first test is just the blimp without any gas, no hydrogen, and we're just going to burn the skin and see what that does.
The room will be a strict no-go zone during the test. Adam and Jamie will watch a live feed of the action outside. To set fire to the blimp remotely, Jamie rigs a blowtorch on a stand.
This is a test number 1. Period, correct skin, no gas. Ignite when you're ready.
Time to put a blowtorch to the belly of this 70-year-old myth.
That looks good. You're right on target. It's going. That was quick.
A thermal imaging camera will show the path of the fire as it rages through the blimp. The Hindenburg burned in 34 seconds. For the myth to be plausible, this Hindenburg has to be consumed in a similar time.
I'm seeing little thermite sparkers. Like little... But yeah, we're already at 1 minute, 10 seconds.
So we could have burned 2 Hindenburgs by now, and we're only like not even a quarter of the way through this.
Suddenly, the fire accelerates.
Oh, wow! Wow!
Oh, yeah.
That is so beautiful!
Sparks cascade as the aluminum and iron oxide on the skin create thermite. The thermal camera shows a massive orange as the fire spreads through the blimp.
Bang. 2 minutes, 6 seconds.
A lot quicker than I thought it was going to go.
But still slow. The real Hindenburg could have burned almost 4 times over in the time it took for the model to burn. There's the unmistakable smell of charred myth in the air. But Adam still sees a spark of hope.
Critics of the skin theory say that there couldn't have possibly been a thermite reaction on the face of the Hindenburg because not only are the proportions of aluminum to iron oxide wrong, but they're suspended in separate layers of butyrate. The fact that we saw a thermite reaction in this test tells me that while that doesn't prove the myth is true, it tells me the critics aren't entirely right.
On to Hindenburg burn number 2. This Zeppelin will be filled with hydrogen. Now, just pumping the blimp full of gas and lighting it won't work. Instead of a burn, they'll get a bang, just like Adam did back at the shop.
Is everybody okay?
So the gas will have to be diffused.
We're going to feed it from the hydrogen tanks through this blue gas hose up the main strut and into a trough of water. And the trough of water is going to diffuse the hydrogen across the entire Hindenburg.
This is where the rubber meets the road, people. If this hydrogen Hindenburg burns faster than the first blimp, the paint theory enthusiasts will be deflated.
It is make or break for this myth on this test. Let's go.
Jamie sets fire to the blimp.
Call it. You're lit.
As the flames take hold, Jess starts feeding hydrogen into the Hindenburg. The gas ignites.
Whoa!
More hydrogen! More!
And the blimp is instantly filled with flame.
Wow. Look at that.
What's our time?
Boom. Wow. 59 seconds flat. That just feels exactly like what we see in the newsreel. God, it's great.
Compare Adam and Jamie's result with the newsreel footage. They're remarkably similar.
This is my favorite scale experiment we've ever done. Full stop.
The burn times tell the story.
The period skin plus the hydrogen burned twice as fast as the period skin without the hydrogen. It doesn't get much more definitive than that kind of result.
The metal compounds on the skin undoubtedly played a role in the Hindenburg tragedy. But to say the hydrogen had no effect, well, that's a lot of hot air.
If I was the narrator of a different kind of show rather than the host of this one, I might say something like this. Like any catastrophe of this magnitude, a number of elements contributed to the totality of the failure on that fateful day in 1937. Now that's writing.
No, Adam. That's gibberish.
Okay, well, at the outset of this, we said for this myth to be true, both burn times with and without hydrogen had to be the same, and they weren't. With hydrogen, this thing burned up twice as fast. It's busted.
Yeah, but you know, the skin actually did have a fair amount to do with this. We saw that it does burn aggressively, and it was clearly a part of what was going on here. We even saw little bitty thermite reactions, which tells us that, like any good myth, there is a grain of truth to the fact that the skin had something to do with thermite.
But in the end, it was the hydrogen plus the skin.
Yep.
We're calling this one busted.
Busted.
But hang on, what about that third blimp? The skin of this Hindenburg has been coated with pure thermite, aluminum and iron oxide blended in a secret, searing formula. It's the same over-the-top, completely unrealistic mega-dope mix Jamie tested back at the start.
Deuteronomy!
With the myth already busted, this test is simply MythBuster theatrics. What you're about to see is what would have happened if the original Hindenburg, filled with hydrogen, was painted with rocket fuel.
There's 15 pounds of thermite on this blimp right now. It's a different sort of beast.
This thing is going to burn.
Thermite's like heavy-duty stuff, and there's an awful lot of it here, so all bets are off.
Test number 3. Thermite megadope plus hydrogen.
It's a safety red alert.
You're lit. Whoa! Dude.
Unsurprisingly, the flammable thermite fires up in no time. And after a dash of hydrogen, we're cooking with gas.
Wow!
Heinemann's Hindenburg is history.
We gotta call that. Boom!
30 seconds flat.
That is exactly the kind of burn that the proponents of the skin theory believe happened. Except that the skin of the Hindenburg was not coated in hundreds of pounds of thermite.
Yeah, that thing wouldn't have gotten off the ground with that much thermite per square foot. There's no way.
Our work here is definitively done.
I love the smell of thermite in the afternoon.